Welcome back to the Author's Edge. Today, we're going to have a little, in the South, they call it a come to Jesus. But podcasting and being on a podcast is not about the microphone, it's about your message. And it might be the most powerful branding tool that you're just not using because who knows the reason? You're nervous, you've never done it before. If you're like me, you had a technophobia. That's when the crippling fear of technology. And so you put off starting your own podcast for 2 freaking years. I'm speaking to my past self, bad decisions. But on this episode, we're joined by Victoria Meyer King, and brand strategist, podcast host of The Chemical Show, which is the #1 business podcast in the trillion-dollar chemical industry. And if you think that that's so niche, yes, it is, but it's also a huge industry. So Victoria has turned that platform into a visibility machine, building authority in her space, opening doors to requests for speaking engagements, cold requests coming in, and showing just how much value having your own podcast can deliver. So today we're unpacking how you can use podcasting, not just to share your message or publish more content, but position yourself as the go-to voice in your field. If you're wondering how to start a podcast that builds your brand and generates leads and becomes your long-term asset, this is for you. So let's get into it. Victoria, I'm so excited that we're finally doing this.
Me too. This is great. It is not often that I'm on this side of the camera and the microphone answering questions. I'm so used to being the one that's asking questions and talking and getting insights from people. So this is fun and a little nerve-wracking. I got to be honest, but let's
a little nerve-wracking. I think I'm disarming and charming, hopefully. Plus,
we all think that, Allison.
This is a total chatty, casual place. We're informal, but we are for reals. You know,
Perfect. I love it.
We're not just circling the drain. We've got a big message because we want to help people, obviously.
Absolutely.
Just alert, this is a disclaimer. Victoria is my accountability partner. I work in the publishing industry. She works in the chemical industry. How did we meet? Through a course we both took, and we both have a no nonsense, no fluff, let's get it done. How fast can we go attitude? And that, if I wouldn't have known that was what my criteria was, but boy, Victoria, we really clicked.
Same.
From step one.
Same. It's always these things where people come into your lives in different times, in different places, and you find out there's a reason.
Yes.
And there's a reason you're in my life, Allison. So I appreciate you.
Me too. Okay, let's talk about podcasts and podcasting. So is there a strategy or a way that people should show up so that they can use podcasts to build their authority?
Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 different ways, really, Allison. You started with this in the intro, which is 1, you could have your own podcast, or 2, you can be a guest on other people's podcasts. Both are really valid. And the thing with podcasting that makes it so powerful, it's your voice. You get to tell your story about your business, your book, your brand, your whatever in your own voice. And people develop a relationship with you. And they are inspired by you and they get to know you. And podcasting is interesting because it's really this, they call it a parasocial relationship where you feel like, hey, I know that person. There is a podcaster that I have been listening to for probably about 5 or 6 years. And I follow him a little bit on social media and stuff. And I feel, hey, that's my guy. I know him. I've reached out to him like, hey, I saw that you're going to be here. And he's involved in baseball. I won't even name the names, but his team was in town playing the Houston Astros. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to the game. And I'm like, by the way, he did not respond, but I felt like I know you. And so I think this is a really interesting opportunity for people that want to get their point of view out. Podcasting is amazing. You're sharing your story in your voice. You're reaching audiences, not just your own, but others. So here we are today. Allison's audience is now going to know who Victoria Meyer is. And I think that's amazing. And so it's really a powerful tool. The other thing about it, and we talk a lot about creating content and authority, you definitely do that, right? You do that by sharing your point of view, by sharing your insights, by sharing your knowledge, and frankly, by having a point of view. But it also becomes evergreen. And that's one of the things I really love about podcasting. When I look at my podcast, The Chemical Show, I've been publishing it for 4.5 years. There is one clip out on YouTube, a 1 minute clip that was done in 2022 that every month is in the top 5 items found on my podcast. It's
What?
crazy. The title, by the way, it's a little geeky. It's What is Operational Excellence? But apparently, people continue to look for operational excellence. And that one clip every single month for the past 4 years shows up. And to me, that's really the power of where we are. It's that your content is and your point of view is visible and value for a long time.
And it could be as simple as what is. It
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be your take on operational excellence or how to get or what the challenges are. It's literally no one's answering that question,
What is?
and in a digestible way.
Yeah.
Like, please
And
don't, I don't want to have to be like Six Sigma certified in order to understand that.
and Allison, we talk about niche podcasting, and I would say my podcast, The Chemical Show, is certainly a niche podcast. Your podcast is a niche podcast. There's a lot of misunderstanding about podcasting and the value it has. We all know who Mel Robbins and Joe Rogan are, and these people that are top 5 podcasts, what have you. The reality is, you are in the top 25% of podcasts if you get 100 downloads per episode. You think, "Oh, holy crap, that's not a lot." It's not a lot. But the reality is, your podcast, if you have your own podcast, if you're guesting on a podcast, is reaching a very targeted audience. It's reaching the people that want to hear your message, that are interested, in my case, in the business of chemicals and how other leaders are thinking. Allison, in your case, it's about marketing and being an author and publishing books. Not everybody's interested in that, and they don't have to be. But the people that need to hear you and need to hear your message are ready and willing, and they're engaged.
The audience is always together.
Yeah.
And they're always either lamenting together or they're celebrating together. They're like, I lost 100 pounds or I want to lose 100 pounds. Those people want to be together
Yeah.
doing the challenging thing. But what's the thing that most people overlook about the value of stepping forward and speaking? Like the marketing jargon is owning your own voice. But what are they overlooking? What's holding them back?
What's holding them back is fear. Let's just be honest. Or often people think, I don't have anything special to say.
Which is
And yet,
baloney.
which is baloney, because each of us are unique and we have a unique story. We are connecting with somebody. So I think that's one thing. It's the, oh shit, what are people going to think? That holds us back. It holds each of us back. And I used to have a sticky note on my computer that was something along the lines of, it's not my business what others think of me. Like this whole get out of your own way. It's, you're not actually being judged the way that we
Right.
think we're being judged. And so I think, to me, it's just understanding that you have a message, finding an audience. And the reality is, there's a million podcasts. If you want to be a podcast guest, there is a podcast for you, right? There's a million podcasts, and yet we are still in the infancy of podcasting as a media. So if it's in you to say, I think I want to have a podcast, yes, do it. There is space for you, because there is a community of people that want to hear your story, your voice, your authority, and there's room for you.
Right. I mean, it's people always think, oh, that medium is dead. When MTV came out, the first video was Video Killed the Radio Star. Radio is not dead. It evolves. It changes. Sirius comes for free with every new car and they give you 3 months for free. And I never subscribe because I'm like, I don't want to have to pay
Same.
for radio. Plus, I just listen to like 90s country
Yeah.
and Motown
Yeah.
and old school rap because
Okay.
I have attitude,
All right. Interesting.
which I own.
I
What-
know. I like the old school rap. I don't necessarily need the Motown. I do the pop hits. Give me hits one.
Right.
I love hits one.
Yes.
But the other piece you were asking about what holds people back, it's this perfectionism, right? They think they have to have all the stuff. So people will often
Right.
say, and I'm on a few podcasting groups on Facebook and elsewhere, and people are like, okay, what do I need? Or I've got the setup, I've got the this, I've got the that. The reality is, you and I, Allison, we are both podcasting with a computer, a camera, and a microphone in our home office. It's just fine.
Yeah.
Your iPhone, or if you're an Android user, is amazing. It's everything you need. And in fact, the story I told you about the podcaster that I've been listening to that's got over 1,000 episodes, he records much of them on his phone. He just does it wherever he's at. He just records them on his
Right.
phone and hits the publish button. It doesn't have to be fancy.
It doesn't have to be fancy. And I think that people, when they go and how to start a podcast, they search for how to start a podcast, they get all this, like, all these tips about soundproofing your closet. And we don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
The microphones, even the microphone on your phone doesn't need that anymore. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about echoes. The microphone itself, this microphone, which is less than $100, people. And I actually have a free checklist. You can go to my website. It's lanelit.com/tech, because I was like, people just need to know you don't need the Blue Yeti microphone, which is over $200. And P.S. serious podcasters say it sounds not that great anyway. So don't
say the same
don't
thing. It actually
spend.
doesn't sound that good.
Really, it looks good if you're going to have a
Yeah.
podcasting set, but who has a podcasting set other than Mel Robbins and Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy, which I do like her because she's got such attitude.
She does have sass.
I know,
My
I
kids
dig
won't
it.
let me. I tried listening to her though, because I have young adults in the house, right? So teenagers to young adults. My oldest just graduated college and she listens to Call Her Daddy every week. And I tried listening one day and they're like, Mom, you are not allowed to do that. I'm like, seriously? It's a free world. I can listen to whatever I want. Now, as it turns out, it is not my jam. That's not. I listen to podcasts that are, what do I want to say? They're business podcasts or marketing
Right, yeah.
podcasts or self-improvement. That's what I like. And yet, you can listen to true crime. You can listen to things like Call Her
Mhm.
Daddy. You can listen to all kinds of sass and whatever. And it's cool. I think the other piece around podcasting, Allison, and you and I have both recognized this, is it creates new doorways and new opportunities for you to go out, walk through, and achieve. When I launched the Chemical Show in 2021, I launched it with this intention that, I was going to feed my consulting business and I'm going to interview people who are going to become clients. And that was my purpose. My purpose was to feed my consulting business. I also recognized that there was this wealth of stories waiting to be told, people across the industry that wanted and needed exposure, and we could each learn from each other. So a big part
Right.
of my value and what I drive for is connection, insights, and helping people just understand what else is going on in the industry and what others are doing. But what I didn't realize is the doors it was going to open to. I launched a conference 2 years later in 2023, the Chemical
The Chemical
Summit.
Summit.
Yes, everything is on brand. So by the way, on brand, the Chemical Show, the Chemical Summit, I have a mastermind called the Chemical Executive Mastermind, because again, people need to be with people that they learn and grow from, and creating that opportunity. I speak on stages. So it has opened doors in ways, frankly, that I didn't imagine.
Yes. And people, they show up because they know you.
They do.
Didn't you just podcast from a conference?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I've actually had conferences that will bring me in to actually podcast from there. Some of it I just seek out on my own, but it's opened up a door because, again, people recognize the value of sharing voices and sharing stories. and the impact that podcasting has, which has been really cool. The other thing I find is every time I have a guest on, people connect with that person, right? One, they connect with their story.
Right.
Two, they reach out and they connect with them on Instagram or LinkedIn primarily. Sometimes people will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I really enjoyed your interview. Could you make an introduction?"
Wow.
Because I think there's an opportunity there and I want to follow up with that person. Yeah, great. Absolutely
Yeah.
happy to do so.
Right. And they're engaging with you and with that person. And this is the whole opportunity.
Yeah.
The common myth of podcasting is that you have to already have cachet. And I would say you already do.
Okay.
But why doesn't that hold people back? That common myth? Or let me ask that a different way.
Yeah.
You already said you don't need thousands of downloads to get traction, but what do you need?
You need a point of view. So there's a few things. How do you build an audience? One is by having a point of view. Being vanilla, white bread, saying the same thing everybody else does. I don't need to say the same thing Mel Robbins does because she says it quite well. So you need to have a point of view. You need to actually use and market your stuff. So I think one of the good things I know, Allison, you do with your podcast is you publish it, you send it out to a newsletter, you post it on LinkedIn and elsewhere. And it creates that awareness, right? That whole analogy, if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Nobody cares. And if you're on a podcast and you never share it, so yeah, I
Right.
think you do need to be able, you need to be willing to share it with people that you know. I think that's one thing. And people, frankly, with people you don't know. But to your point of, do you need to have this big following? No, because part of the beauty of this is you have an interesting story, point of view, business approach, whatever it is. And that's what people want to hear. I don't, when I, again, I go back to the chemical show. When I launched the chemical show, one of the things I recognize that in the chemical industry, the same 10 people and companies are referenced in 80% of the articles.
What?
Seriously, when you look at trade press, and I'm not going to name, I might name names, but you know what? It's always somebody from Dow is talking, somebody from LyondellBasell is talking, somebody from Shell is talking. And yet, there are thousands of companies and leaders that have points of view. And people love getting those points of view of people. I think the other really powerful thing that I found, and I've interviewed some really big guests at really big companies, is asking the question a different way so that you get more of your story out.
Yeah.
There's a guest I interviewed, Mike Graff. He was the former CEO of Air Liquide, America's big Fortune 50 global company. And we talked about his origin story. And I always love to talk about people's origin stories. Like, how did you get here? Like, were you birthed and became CEO? No, you had a place, you
Right.
had a
You had a
process.
path.
And he talked about how he would go to a family farm in the summer and he worked on the farm. And that's where he got interested in how things worked. And it turned into engineering. And then the engineering turned. And I still just remember the whole part of the story. And when we ended our interview, one of his comms team members who has known him for years, like, Mike, I've never heard that story. Our employees would love this. Yes, they would. We have so much depth of experience, background, stories that
Yeah.
people have never heard. And podcasting is just a great way to share that.
I think that people, when they think I'm going to be the star, they think I have to give and I'm giving advice, but they really want connection. And connection
Yeah.
comes from like behind the scenes. That's why behind the scenes videos are and behind the scenes stories get so much more engagement than like the polished whatever. Even behind the scenes photo shoots,
Yes.
like I'm on the way to the photo shoot. Like even when, I had brand pictures taken because I can't take selfies all the time. The behind the scenes, like on the way there, are so much more interesting too
Yes.
because they're not so polished.
And they're very
Sometimes
relatable. right?
Yeah.
Because I think we see people, we see somebody speaking on stage, we see somebody's beautiful photograph, and we
Yeah.
think, oh my gosh, that person is perfect. I could never be that person. I remember as a young leader when I was working at Shell, looking at some of the female senior leaders, I'm like, oh my God, I could never be that person. I'm not like that person. I have to dress a certain way, talk a certain way, whatever. And then you get behind the mess and you overhear them having an argument with their kids on the phone. No, you need to come home after school. And you realize, oh, like they're a real person too. And so I think it's that. It's the people want to know that you're real, that you're going through some of the same stuff, that you're not perfect. You're not this perfect image. I do think there's the opportunity though. So I think it's the behind the scenes is important. The fact that you feel like sometimes you have this heavy handed that you have to carry the show, which you do and you don't, especially in an interview based show, right? You just have to ask good questions. But I would say it is really important and a great opportunity for podcasters such as you and I, Allison, to make sure that our point of view gets in because it's easy to always be asking questions and
Yes.
never sharing our point of view. And yet, people want your point of view, and you have a hugely valuable point of view. So I think it's an important balance, whether you're hosting your own podcast, whether you're guesting on a podcast, to make sure that people know, oh, no, I have a point of view, and this is what you need to do, and this is why you need to
Mhm.
do it.
Do you have a resource for people who want to start their podcast?
I don't have a start your podcast resource, but I have a resource for podcasters. I have several resources. So if you would go to thechemicalshow.com/podcasters, there's several resources. I have how to build a media kit because Allison, as you know, one of
Yes.
my big beliefs is every podcast should have a media kit and every podcast should be profitable. People say, I don't have 1,000,000 downloads. No, but you know what? You access 100 people that somebody else wants access to. And there's
Mhm.
ways to monetize that. So I've got some resources there. And then I do some courses occasionally about how to build a media kit, how to build a profitable bit. I've got my podcast profit blueprint, which is really about how to build a profitable podcast. So several resources there for folks.
That's a good reminder. I need a media kit. Oh, more thing to do.
We can work on it together.
Thank you.
I actually have a template for you, Allison. So when
Oh,
I do
no,
I
template is my middle
I
name.
know. Well,
I
and
love
as you
it.
know, I do a do it with you workshop on build your media kit because I'm also a believer is I can send you that template and you send me templates for all kinds of stuff. But until we sit and work on it together in a
Yeah,
focused effort,
it
it's not
doesn't get
getting
done.
done. And I will tell you, I've run this workshop a couple of times and people are like, this was amazing.
It's like
As
when you're focused with other people who are also focused, and it's somehow it's not just the collaboration, it's the like all the minds working as one
yeah,
in one hive brain. It gets everything done.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, pivot.
Yes.
What's a book people should be reading right now?
I have a couple of books. So number one, I am reading the J.D. Robb Death series. There's 72 books in this series. And
I
this is
love a
like,
series and I love thrillers.
it's a police detective futuristic set in
Yeah.
like 2050, which is not that far in the future, by the
Oh
way.
God, we're so old.
And it's just like my little go-to. You know what? I deviate, whatever, but that's my little go-to at the moment because I'm just working my way through it. It's like I've watched all 20 seasons of NCIS. This
Oh
is
my
my
God,
reading
mine
version
too.
of this.
Me
So
too.
that's
And the
so
new
that
season just got released.
I know, I can't wait. So that's my guilty pleasure, not so guilty. And then the other book I'm currently reading, which is Who Not How by
Yes.
Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And as an entrepreneur, it's just and frankly, for every one of us, it's a
Mhm.
great reminder that I don't have to know how to do everything. I need to
Yeah.
find the right who's in my life that can help me, whatever. Got a
Fill
who to
in the
mow my
blank.
lawn. I've got a
Yeah.
who to clean the house. I need who's in my business to help
Mhm.
drive me forward, introduce me to people, make things happen. And so I think it's just a great reminder for all of us. And it's an easy read and really, just really relevant.
Good tips. We'll have those in the show notes and we'll
Perfect.
have links to your media kit and your
Yay.
courses in the show notes. Now, What is one thing before we call this podcast complete that
Yeah.
you want people to do today?
Oh my gosh. That's a really hard one.
What can they do to take one mini itty bitty baby step toward being on a podcast or hosting
Yeah.
yours?
Okay. We're going to start with this. So let's talk about being on. You know what? I'm going to say your itty bitty step towards having your own podcast, because I'm a believer that you can and should have your own podcast, is write down 5 potential names and topics and go see if the website's available.
Oh,
When I decided, I had been pondering and pondering to launch a podcast and what was it going to be. And I was out for a walk. I was on a goal setting retreat with my husband in November of 2020.
aw.
And I was out for a walk listening to a podcast. I don't know what podcast it was, and I wish I did, because whatever, when I'm out walking is often when
Mm.
I'm thinking and I'm freeing. And I just remember at one point thinking, oh my gosh, keep it simple, sweetheart, stupid, whatever word you want to use for that second S, but
Yeah.
keep it simple. The Chemical Show, it doesn't need to be more complex than that. It's niche
Right.
enough, because everybody's like niche now. You know what? It is a niche.
And it doesn't need to be super clever.
It doesn't have to be super clever. It's actually better if it's descriptive. It's better if it's the how to use your iPhone in 2025. If you want that to be your podcast, bring it on. Go get
Yeah,
it.
the iPhone podcast.
Exactly. And I did that. I was out on this walk. I'm like, the Chemical Show. That's simple. I
Mhm.
got back to the hotel. I looked it up on GoDaddy. That's my go-to place for podcast or for websites.
Domains.
It was available. I bought it. 3 days later, I talked to somebody who's, hey, can I refer you to, back to the who, not how, can I
Mhm.
refer you to the podcast company that's helped set up our podcast? I'm like, yes. The one thing is just write down 5 names and go see if they're available and buy one of them and just make it happen.
And you'd think, oh, buy them. They're $14 a year.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
You've got to
Yes.
know if something is $50 a year, then you don't need that one. Just keep moving
Yes.
because the going rate for them is $14 a year. So-
Exactly. And so skip a Starbucks visit if you need to and go get the website.
Make your own coffee.
Make your own
It's
coffee.
fine.
It's nice to go get treated sometimes.
Yeah, I'm so picky. I
would have never guessed that, Allison.
what I am.
I'm
I'm
mocking you now.
I just am like I know what I like. I have an opinion. Shocker. Yeah, most of the time I'm thinking like, just let me back there. I'll do it.
Oh my gosh.
But they
Oh my
don't. They don't
gosh.
let you do that.
That's a whole nother story. I stayed in a hotel for 7 months once, and yikes. Well, I mean, I went back and forth on the weekends, but for whatever reason, it was hunting season and the kitchen was opening late. And I
Oh,
was like, can I just go back and toast a English muffin and get some berries out of your fridge? And they're like,
sure.
yeah, okay. I did.
That's right. Because you got to know how to do it yourself. I love that. I love that. Listen, if you want to start your own podcast, go to the Chemical Show / what did you say?
thechemicalshow.com/podcasters.
Podcasters. And
Yeah.
the link is in the show notes. Go there. You'll get some super helpful resources so that you can actually take action.
Yeah.
And then
And if you have a podcast, let's take it to the next level.
with the media kit. Yes. All right. That's me too. All right. Victoria, thank you so much. This is phenomenal. And
Thanks,
you listening from the parking lot at Target, and I know your life because it's my life too. You can do this. You really can. And I believe in you. And when you launch your podcast, send it to me. I will promote it. This is a lifelong publicist telling you I'm happy to share it. Or don't send it to me, just tag me on whatever. I'm on most of the platforms. So, I'm always Allison Lane Lit. So it's not a surprise. I will see you next week.